You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome to Let's Talk Business. My name is Kelly Bolton, and thank you for tuning in as we have the distinct pleasure of hosting our community's foremost leaders, entrepreneurs, and civic heroes. Outside of financial assets and real estate, jewelry can be one of the largest investments that we make. So it's important that we do our research with any large purchase. Whether it's an engagement ring, anniversary, present, luxury item, fine jewelry has tremendous value. So much that we often have it insured. I'm thrilled to have with us Jason Heckendorf with Sissy's Log Cabin as our guest today. Sissy's has set a standard in excellence in the industry. So without further ado, join me as I welcome Jason to our show. Jason, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure to be here.
Well, I am excited to ask you some questions. I know you opened your first store back in 1970, and now it's my understanding you have about like 6 locations, one of them in Memphis. And I want to hear about that. But before we do, how in the world did you come up with the name Sissy's Log Cabin for a jewelry store? Because let me tell you, when I first saw it, I drove by it a zillion times thinking it was like kind of a log cabin, a home furnishing store. And so I thought, oh, I don't need to furnish a log cabin, so I drove by. And then I started hearing great things about Sissy's Log Cabin. So tell me about it.
Well, Sissy's Log Cabin was started by Miss Sissy herself. Miss Sissy is a legend in the jewelry industry, and she actually did start in a log cabin. So she started out as an antique dealer for many, many years.
Okay.
And her son was helping her carry a big chest up some stairs. And he came down and they had this estate of jewelry. He said, you know, Mom, it would be a lot easier to sell this estate jewelry than it would be all this furniture and lugging it around. And so that's where Sissy's Log Cabin started from, is in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Is Sissy herself starting it out, going to a bank as a woman in a time when women couldn't get loans. They couldn't do many different things. And she has built an amazing legacy.
So Miss Sissy started in 1970 in a log cabin. Well, that makes sense. Then, so is Miss Sissy still alive?
Oh, yes, she is. She's very active, not as active in the business day to day anymore, but she's still very active in our meetings and still goes into the store and still has a voice where her voice needs to be heard for sure.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. And so I know you've got the 6 locations, and then I think you moved to Memphis in 2014. Is that right?
We've been here, it'll be 10 years this year. We're in our 10th year.
Oh, wow. And so tell our guests where you're located and about your expansion plans, because I think that's really exciting.
Yeah. We're in Laurelwood Shopping Center right now, just actually next to James Davis up from Frost. And we are currently building a freestanding store that we are set to move into in early November. And it is going to be an 8,600 square foot store.
Oh, that's huge.
Much larger than what we've already got.
How much will be the actual floor space for the showing of the jewelry?
It's a very, very large portion of it. We do have a conference room, and we're bringing our watchmaker is going to be up on our level of the floor, as well as our jewelry shop as well. But we're going to be bringing in different designers that we don't have now and building out boutique style. It's going to be next level to anything that's out there.
Oh, wow. Are you going to have a like a soft opening, or are you going to just open the doors to everybody on one day and say, come on in?
We're going to be opening up the doors to everybody saying, come on in. And when we get in, it's our season. November, December are the season for the jewelry industry. So we're going to be busy right out of the gate, and we want to make sure that we're ready and prepared for everybody.
That's amazing. So you said you're going to bring in some new designers, and you said something that was interesting, a watchmaker. Yep. So do you make your own watches, or is this to repair an existing watch?
To repair an existing watch. So we currently have a Rolex watchmaker that works for us. Now he's going to actually be where you can actually see what is going on right off the showroom floor.
Oh, kind of like, I know none of our guests, I mean, of our viewers may remember this, but I remember as a kid growing up in Memphis, and there was a pizza parlor called Shakey's Pizza Parlor. And do you remember Shakey's?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so you could, as a kid, you could walk up the little steps, and they had a viewing, like this big window, and you could watch them make pizza, and it was But as a child, that's probably my most vivid memory is when my parents treated us to Shakey's Pizza and I could watch. So I know this isn't Shakey's Pizza, but you'll have like kind of a viewing area where you can watch the watchmaker.
Be able to see kind of what's going on in there. We have access to him. Rolex being one of our, actually it is really our premier brand, which sets a standard for us for in the store and sets a standard for the industry. We want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to follow that step by step.
I did not realize y'all were a Rolex dealer. I thought there was only maybe one in Memphis.
Yeah, in Memphis proper, we are the Rolex dealer here in the Memphis proper. There's one other in the area, which is different for Rolex. They have very limited doors that they have throughout the country.
Because I think one's maybe in Germantown,
Yes.
one's in Memphis. So you're the only dealer in Memphis, and your Rolex repair person actually used to build Rolex watches.
He worked for Rolex doing Rolex repair. And then he came and has been employed by us for some time now.
How exciting!
Yes.
Well, can you give us a little sneak peek of what are some of the brands that you carry, names that maybe people would know,
Absolutely.
and then what are some of the new exciting things?
Absolutely. So currently we carry Rolex. It's one of our premier watch brands. We carry Breitling in our store as well. But as far as jewelry goes, we carry a very, very high-end designer called Rachmaninoff, JB Starr, Henry Dawsey, Gabriel for engagement rings and fashion jewelry. We're actually bringing in Cartier timepieces into our new store. We'll have another company called Oris and Mikimoto, which is a very, very fine pearl company.
See, I thought there was only one Mikimoto dealer in Memphis.
We're
very interesting.
Yes.
That is very interesting. Well, you know, on the Rolex watch front, which is obviously quite an investment if somebody chooses to buy a Rolex, because I was shocked when I saw what they were selling for used. I mean, it is amazing. Are you finding you're even able to get the Rolexes in?
Oh yes, we get shipments in regularly every month. The demand is just unprecedented right now for Rolex timepieces. So I always tell people when they're coming into our store, it's not if, it's when you get the timepiece that you want. We want people to come on in, develop relationships with our team to develop relationships with them, and then that way we can get them fitted into the timepiece that works for them. There might be more than one piece that they're interested in, which makes that easier to acquire that piece for them.
So it's not like you pick what you want and they build it for you. You just say, this is what I want, and if you happen to be lucky enough to get it, you say, hey, your number's up, come on in.
I wouldn't take it to that degree, but yes,
Yeah.
we don't design and build them to the order. We have specifications that we work with Rolex. We get certain timepieces in, a certain number of them throughout the year. We can also request certain configurations that also help out, and then we present that to the guest. Okay,
that's interesting. I appreciate that, because I was trying to kind of get a handle on what's happening in the watch industry, because I know that's been such an investment piece for so many people as jewelry. But we're going to pause. We're going to take a short break. So if you'll hang tight. We're going to pause for a short commercial break, so please stick around.
The reason I chose art is because I love many aspects of art, such as the fact of being able to draw what you like or draw from your imagination.
Art does open the horizon of the mind. You have to have a certain type of mindset and mind to be an artist.
I think the arts are really important because they provide students with that safe space. They provide them a space where they can express themselves, they can be who they really want to be.
I've always been interested in art, even though I haven't always been good at it. And I think it's like my primary form of self-expression. I feel safest in an art classroom. I like the community, and I like to experiment with other mediums.
At Germantown High School, we offer a variety of art classes. We have our introductory art classes, Art 1, Art 1 Honors. We also have the AP Art and the International Baccalaureate Art program as well.
When it comes to students who feel like they cannot draw or do any kind of visual art, that's my territory. They often come in saying, Mr. Weddle, I can't do this. And I say, relax, you're in the right area.
I want them to learn new techniques, try new media, develop skills that they're proud of in the arts.
I think the idea of being able to present something, an idea, their own work, a concept, those are exercises that we do in our class every day.
It's really fun because you get to really do things at your own speed and you get to really experiment with a lot of things.
It's a very eye-opener for me. It helped me determine what I wanted to do in life. It helped me a lot what I wanted to major in, how I wanted to do it, what plan I wanted to follow.
Don't give up. Always keep persevering, always keep trying, and keep doing, because you'll always learn something new and you'll find something else that you want to do. And when you find something you want to do and you love to do it, continue doing it and continue finding new things to love about it.
For more information about the Kappa program, visit ghskappa.com or call 755-7775. You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Business. If you're just tuning in, I am Kelly Bolton, and today we have the distinct pleasure of talking with us Jason Heckendorf. He's with Sissy's Log Cabin as he shares tremendous insight and tips on how to invest in fine jewelry. So Jason, I know we were talking about Rolex because that's just kind of like a household name and watch. Cartier, wow, another one that you might have some Cartier pieces. That's incredible. It might be fun just to go window shop and look at the items you have. One thing I was told that was pretty cool is that you are the official jeweler for Memphis Grizzlies and University of Memphis?
Yes, we are. In fact, the University of Memphis Tigers, we just joined that this year, partnered with them this year on that. The Grizzlies, this is our second year, and it is just such an honor to have that we get to do that. There's a floor seat lounge, and actually we've taken that floor seat lounge, we've turned it into the Sissy's Floor Seat Lounge. People can go in there and enjoy themselves. All the people that have the floor seats come on in and they eat. They have their drinks there, and we actually have custom-made display cases in there where we send members of our team down there to each game where they can come try it on, take pictures. We have people that do TikToks and Instagrams while they're trying on, just fancy, very, very fine pieces of jewelry. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, okay. So it's not that you're making a pin that says the Grizzlies. It's you actually have on the floor, you kind of sponsor or have bought the lounge area so people can come in and shop while they're very smart. And for University of Memphis, very smart.
Yes, and we also do design Grizzly jewelry that was approved by them, and then we actually present that out to guests when they come on in the store. They can see that.
Oh, that's incredible. And then there was something, let me look at my notes here. There was something, the facets of fire diamond.
Oh, yes.
Now, I didn't want to get that wrong, so I wrote that down. What is the facets of fire diamond?
It is something we are so excited about. Facets of Fire is a cutting technology with natural diamonds. At Sissy's, we only carry natural diamonds, nothing with the lab-grown or factory-grown diamonds that are out there.
I was going to ask you that.
Yes, and it is the Facets of Fire diamond is something that we are exclusive to, have the rights to in Tennessee and in Arkansas. It is 300 times more brilliant than any other diamond on earth. It is absolutely fascinating. If it's something you haven't seen, you have to stop in our store and check it out.
So you are not carrying any of the lab grown, which I've been told the lab grown without, the naked eye might not be able to tell the difference. Now, I'm sure your naked eye could, but the lab grown, because I guess they're grown, my understanding, to be like a diamond was grown. And then there's the what's that other one?
There's the moissanite, there's cubic zirconia, which the way that I view that in my eyes is if you're going to buy something synthetic of that nature, you may as well go into that cubic zirconia or into that moissanite. But lab grown,
not do the lab grown.
Correct.
Because the lab grown is kind of a hybrid between the two, so you're still paying more than the moissanite and the cubic zirconia, but you're paying less than, and it's still not the real thing. So if you're not going to get the real thing, get the
that is my view.
Moissanite.
That's my view on that. Yes, for sure. I mean, the lab grown market is definitely there, but it had started up here. It has come way down on their values. So people that's why we don't get in it. The market's just too unstable.
Yeah. You
don't know where it's going. The values have dropped so tremendously, and so we look at it as
because it doesn't have that really uniqueness because it wasn't really grown. That makes sense to me.
Correct.
And I hear people say they bought their travel jewelry and like I bought a moissanite or a zirconia because I don't want to travel with my real jewelry. And my thought was, then why even have it? If you buy it, why not? Now I know if you're going to an area where you'd be really concerned about crime or something, but at that point, if you have a fake one that looks just as good as a real one, you're still attracting attention. So I've never really understood that because you insure your jewelry, which leads me to the question that is like, everything's been great and happy up until this point, but let me ask you this. We are living in a time in our society where crime has gotten pretty tough. We're having smash and grabs. We see what's happening in, out in California, New York. I mean, it's happened here in Memphis. It happened in Germantown. I mean, just busting through a storefront and stealing. So what are y'all doing to protect your inventory, and then in the evening, and then also during the day to protect your inventory while your employees are there handling these very expensive items and your guests are in there?
Sure. We're in a spot in East Memphis where, it is a much safer area for all to shop.
Right.
And in the evenings, obviously, we could lock up all of our jewelry in a vault, just like a bank would, have everything locked up. Mm-hmm. During the day, I always tell guests that are coming in, we never want to live in fear. We do have security measures in place within our store. We actually have a guard there to make guests feel comfortable when they come in. But we don't want to put buzzers on doors and make people feel like they're having to come into a cage when they come in. We want it to be open. We want them to feel like family when they're there. And it doesn't matter who they are. And I think that also protects it just in general, that it just shows that we're there to serve them. You should buy this jewelry to wear it, to enjoy it, and to have it be art, or to be just something that's a memory that you're purchasing for somebody.
That makes sense. And I had read that there was even new technologies and that sort of thing that were being used to safeguard jewelry. I don't know, that may be something, maybe it's the new safes or, but I'd read new technology. Is that true? Is there any kind of new?
I'm not aware of any new technology. I mean, obviously, you have your vaults to lock things up. Your cases are locked. Cameras within the facility, so that way you can view things as if it's something were to happen, God forbid. But for the most part, no, nothing else that I would be aware of. On certain diamonds, they are laser inscribed, whether it's by GIA, the Gemological Institute of America.
That's what I had heard. So certain diamonds are laser inscribed, so the naked eye can't see it. Correct. It doesn't affect the brilliance of the diamond, but if it's stolen, somebody could if somebody was looking at it, they would see it had a marking.
Absolutely.
And then they could look it up. Very interesting. And these facets of fire diamond, can they be marked as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Several of our diamonds that we sell out of our inventory that we purchase, we will actually laser inscribe them ourselves to, whether it's with the diamond weight, we could actually put on the girdle of a diamond, we could put down "I love you" to whoever your spouse was. We could put a little something on there for somebody to personalize it for them if they really wanted that.
I want to hear more about that, but we're gonna pause. It appears we need to cut for another short commercial break, so don't go away as we learn more about fine jewelry and how you can make the most of this investment.
You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
I'm your moderator, Brandon Sewell, coming to you live from the campus of Germantown High School.
So GHS-TV tries to model a real working station.
I really thought it was cool when I first started a studio and all the opportunities that it was able to provide for me.
That would be 36 out of 36. It's a rigorous class that demands a lot from students.
At times you are going to be thrown into the fire to where you're just going to have to figure it out yourself.
Which is really great because then we gain more knowledge. Our teachers will give us how to start, but then we're left to make up the whole entire process.
It just seems to me it's not enough space in the beginning. If it's not, let's figure out what we can do.
They can be a producer, they can be a director, they can work graphics and learn audio. They can go out and shoot field reports.
Akila, back to you.
And it's a challenge to throw them into the environment and say, here's a camera, go out and record this interview and some B-roll. But those are the challenges that grow students to do bigger projects.
Welcome to Red Devil Newsbeat.
In GHS-TV, we have a variety of shows. We have Crosstalk.
Hello and welcome to a new season of GHS-TV's award-winning talk show, Crosstalk.
We have Insider, which is all about Germantown.
Welcome to GHS Insider, the show that's all about the G.
Cut to One and Q Talent.
Wake up, Germantown. It's Wednesday, April 5th. I'm Colin Ewing.
Some things that I've learned from this class is that how to work as a team.
We learn how to communicate better with people.
Something I'll take with me from in the future is their slogan, check, double check, and check again.
There's so many different things you can do here. I would say take risks. Push yourself further than you think you can go and we will help guide you there.
Go Red Devils!
For more information about the Kappa program, visit ghskappa.com or call 755-7775. You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Business. So glad you could join us today as we have the pleasure of speaking with Jason Heckendorf with Sissy's Log Cabin to discuss the exciting jewelry industry. So thanks for tuning in. Jason, we were just talking about how you can laser inscribe the bottom of a diamond, not affect the color cut or clarity. The person really can't see it, but they know that it's there. Absolutely. And then it kind of identifies the diamond. That's a cool concept. You know, I guess for some people that would have tremendous value and meaning. Is it an expensive endeavor to do? No, the machine itself, you know, is your initial investment, but then from there, it's just taking some time to do it. And when you're buying jewelry, you're buying something that's going to be timeless, and you're doing it to commemorate a memory or an occasion in your life. So to do something like that is pretty awesome. Wow, that's really neat. Well, tell us, I haven't asked you, we just kind of jumped right in, but tell me about your background and what it would take if somebody wanted to be like a gemologist or a watchmaker. How does that work? Sure, so the jewelry industry has many different facets. I got into the industry when I was 18 years old. I'm now 46 years old, and I got into it and it was just made for me. I went in to start polishing jewelry, became a jeweler, was a jeweler for 18 years, learning under others. And there's some trade schools you can go to for that. In fact, we at Sissy's Log Cabin in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, just started our own jewelry program. So you can actually go down there and learn how to be a bench jeweler, learn different aspects of jewelry. So you don't have to have a college degree. No. You can, because that's what you did. You just started and learned your way through. Yes. How interesting. Yes. You know, people forget that college is great, don't get me wrong, but there are career paths that you can take that don't require you to go, whether it's an airplane mechanic or whatever. That's interesting. Yes. But there's no school that you have in Memphis like that. But you do have in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Those that were interested in being a jeweler could go. Absolutely, absolutely. You can go there and check out what that means to become a bench jeweler. Watchmaking's a little different. You know, there's different levels of watchmakers. Mm-hmm. There's different schools and trade schools that you can go to, but really then you're going to apprentice underneath somebody. It's going to take a few years, several years in some cases, to get to the level that you want to be at. Working on the sales floor, if you got customer service skills, you got people skills, you can learn about jewelry and knowledge, and it's what you put into it. The self-education side of it is so important. And then there are a lot of our employees go through the GIA program that gives them a gemological background. And there's different levels of that you can do to better yourself in the industry. Are y'all going to be hiring if your store is getting bigger? Are you needing employees? I always tell people we're always looking for good people. Then describe what you're looking for. Good customer service skills, people. You know, people that enjoy being around people, around other individuals, smiling and just having a great positive attitude. Sales experience is not always a necessary, you know, because you could be getting into this new, fresh, just looking for that start to get into the industry. And so really we're just looking for people that are outgoing, looking to start something new and hardworking. Interesting. And then they don't have to have background in jewelry. And you know, really probably purchasing jewelry you don't need somebody to sell it to you. Because if you go in, you know kind of what you want. The person's job that is waiting on you is to help you find that piece that matches what you come in looking for, not to try to convince you to buy something you don't want, because then you leave unhappy. That is very accurate. And then showing you also things that you wouldn't normally get to see. Exactly. Because you don't know what somebody might want when they come into the store. Really, it's about the experience and the relationship that you're developing with the person to make sure they are taken care of. Yeah, that's really good. And what type of positions are you looking for right now? So we're always going to be looking for good sales
people in our store.
Okay.
And that's something that if people are interested, they can just stop by the store and visit us and bring in a resume. And a lot of times if I'm available, I'm going to sit down and talk to them or have a member of our leadership team talk to them and then do some peer one-on-one sit downs with some of our team as well.
Good. And is it salary plus commission?
Yeah, you're going to get an hourly wage, plus you're going to get a commission based on what it is that you sell and different levels that you're at.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Well, tell me, jewelry. You know, lately, with the price of everything going up, I mean, I went to the grocery the other day and spent $200, and there was nothing I could make a meal on. I mean, you know, it was toilet paper and some Diet Coke and, you know, a few cleaning supplies. And I mean, I thought, I can't, there's nothing I can eat in this whole thing. Or you go to the store and you spend $200 at the grocery store and you buy food and you don't have any meat. I remember, you know, you didn't hit $100 until you had meat. And, you know, I know a young lady that had bought an apartment and, not bought an apartment, was renting an apartment. And when inflation hit and cost of gas went up and groceries went up, she had a budget, and that went up so much that it put her over the budget. So she had to move back home, save money, and now she's buying her own home, which is fabulous. So I'm really thrilled for her. But tell me about the jewelry, because from what I've seen, because I love to read about it, because I think jewelry, I love pretty things. So jewelry is pretty. And from what I'm reading, I'm like, what? Is that an extra comma in there? Cost of jewelry is going up, right?
The cost of your raw goods on anything has gone up, like you said. We're trying to do things to help control that some, but it hasn't gone out of control. It's a very slow moving process with the increase that's there, and we're watching it constantly and trying to make sure that that we're regulating it for the guests the best that we can. A lot of that can help some of it can be controlled with how you buy, when you buy, where you buy. And so we're really trying and focused hard on that. But yes, it definitely has affected the industry just like every other industry that's out there, but it hasn't been out of control for the most part.
Well, in our last kind of 30 seconds before we wrap up, if you could tell me, is jewelry a good investment? If I buy a piece today, and can I trade it in 5 years or 10 years?
It's one thing that's great about Sissy's is when you buy a diamond, if you spend $5,000, whatever the dollar amount is on a diamond, it is always worth what you paid for it to trade it in towards any other diamond in the future and just pay the difference. There's no minimum. So we do that on diamond studs, single diamond pendants, diamond engagement rings, just your center diamond, where it never loses any money. And that's the great thing about
as long as you trade up.
As long as you're trading it in, and there's no minimum. So if you're spending $1,000 more, you're spending $10,000 more, whatever that might be. It's money that you're locking up that you can use. Absolutely.
I love that. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I mean, in a world where I think we've gone mad, it's fun to talk about pretty things and things that we can dream about.
That's
so, and I'm going to come in the store and shop around because I would love to just see all the pretty things. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Once again, we'd like to thank Jason Heckendorf with Sissy's Log Cabin for being with us today and sharing his valuable insight. I encourage our audience to go check out Sissy's Memphis location and make a beautiful investment for you or a loved one. We hope you've enjoyed this discussion, and I hope you will join us again next month on Let's Talk Business. To get more information on our show, you can check us out on the web. It's at GHS-TV.org, where we're streaming live 24 hours a day. You can also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I hope you enjoyed our discussion, and I hope you will join us again next month on Let's Talk Business.